Think of America today. We imagine skyscrapers, highways, technology, and global power. But if we turn the pages of history backward, 700 years into the past, we discover a very different America. In the 14th century, there was no country called the United States of America. There was no New York, no Washington, no California. There were no Europeans at all. Instead, there was a vast living land filled with rivers, forests, mountains, open plains, and millions of people who called this land their home. This is the story of that America, an America that existed long before Europe arrived. Around the year 1300 AD, North America was not an empty wilderness. It was home to millions of people, today known as Native Americans or Indigenous peoples. They were not one single group. They were hundreds of nations, tribes, and cultures. Some lived deep in forests, some across endless grasslands, some in deserts, others near rivers and mountains. Each group had its own language, traditions, clothing, and beliefs. Their lives followed the rhythm of nature. The rising sun marked the beginning of the day. Firelight brought families together at night. Stories, songs, and prayers passed knowledge from one generation to the next. They did not believe humans owned the land. They believed humans belonged to the land. Near today's Illinois once stood one of the greatest cities in ancient America, Cahokia. At the beginning of the 14th century, Cahokia was home to more than 40,000 people. At that time, many European cities were smaller than this. At the center of the city stood a massive earthen pyramid called Monk's Mound, larger in area than the Great Pyramid of Egypt. Cahokia was not a primitive settlement. It had planned neighborhoods, trade networks, agriculture, and religious centers. The people of Cahokia worshipped the sun. They understood astronomy. They tracked seasons, solstices, and agricultural cycles with precision. But after around 1350 AD, something changed. The city slowly emptied. Fires went out. Homes were abandoned. Why did Cahokia fall? Was it drought, disease, political conflict, environmental collapse? History does not yet have a complete answer. Cahokia remains one of America's greatest mysteries. The people of 14th century America were not starving nomads. They were skilled farmers. One of their greatest agricultural innovations was called the Three Sisters: corn, beans, squash. These crops were planted together. Corn grew tall and strong. Beans climbed the corn and enriched the soil. Squash spread across the ground, protecting moisture and preventing weeds. This was not accidental farming. It was ecological science, a system Europe would not fully understand until centuries later. Religion in the 14th century America was not written in books. It was lived every day. Rivers had spirits. Mountains had memories. Wind carried messages. Everything in nature was alive and connected. Shamans were central figures in society. They were healers, spiritual leaders, and keepers of knowledge. Illness was not seen as only physical. It was often understood as a loss of balance between the body, spirit, and the natural world. Yes, there was war in 14th century America, but war was not endless destruction. It was fought for land, survival, and honor. Prisoners were not always killed. Many were adopted into enemy tribes and became full members of new families. One of the most advanced political systems was the Iroquois Confederacy, a union of multiple nations governed by shared laws and councils. Decisions were made collectively, voices were heard, balance and unity were valued. Many historians believe this system later influenced the democratic ideas behind the United States Constitution. During the 14th century, the natural world began to change. Droughts increased. Food became harder to grow in some regions. Communities migrated. Across the continent, societies adapted, moved, and transformed. It was as if the land itself was preparing for something unknown. By the end of the 14th century, America was still free, still indigenous, still governed by its original people. No one knew that within 100 years, foreign ships would cross the ocean, new diseases would arrive, entire civilizations would collapse, and history would be rewritten. The 14th century was the final chapter of an independent America, a world complete in itself. History does not begin with Columbus. History begins with people, with the first fires lit, the first crops grown, the first stories told under the stars. 14th century America was not empty. It was alive, intelligent, spiritual, and complex. And even today, the echoes of that world still live in the land, in the wind, and in the stories we are only beginning to remember.